Hi, folks. Welcome to a very special edition of Diplomacy Cast. On Memorial Day weekend, David Hood ran Virtual Dixiecon, an event that had 80 players from all over the world participating in 20 games of diplomacy in one day. There were 11 boards in the morning and 9 in the evening. The game that follows comes from the evening round. I had to drop out a little bit after midnight, but thankfully we had a special guest come in to finish up the broadcast. I'm Chris Martin, and I'll stab you soon.
2D, we've got in Austria Mike Walsh, in England Russ Dennis, who is the author of the Diplomacy Briefing, a weekly newsletter, which, as I said before, has quickly become a clearinghouse for diplomacy information in the North American hobby. France, we have Zach Moore, who is the organizer of the Minnesota Diplomacy Club, which has sort of exploded in the last couple of years. It's at times had more frequent games than the Chicago Club, which has been around for 15 more years. And Zach wanted me to point out that on June 6th, the Minnesota Club is hosting an online face-to-face game, and it is open to anyone who wants to sign up. So if you would like to have a look at that, go to, mndiplomacy.com, I believe. I will get that link for you guys.
Yeah, Carl, in the comments, that's what you want to know about, because that'll be a thing you can be involved in.
So that's going to be on June 6th, which is a Saturday. And there's a very good chance that Siobhan and Chris and I will be live streaming that game as well. So that's Zach Moore in France. He's a very good player. He's won Weaselmoot and done well at some other tournaments. Scott Joffre in Germany. Wesley Ketchum in Italy, brand new Weasel, who was in first place in our local standings until last weekend. Russia is Vanessa Smith, a longtime hobby player, and Turkey is Jorge Zhang, who is a younger Chicago Weasel, and a wily one, I should say, who makes us proud here in Chicago by opening to Armenia.
In the grand Weasel tradition.
Thank you, George. Got how many? Wait, this is 2 out of 4 now? That's 2
out of 4 in this round, yes.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, and the other two were holds. Love it. Okay, what else comes out of you? Chris, your turn.
France and England create a reasonable detente to start the game, head in their own directions. Germany doesn't signal anything with his opening, but has to worry about Tyrolia. Very, very vanilla in Austria. The move to Tyrolia and Venice by Italy suggests there may be a supported move to Trieste in the fall. It's pretty hostile to Austria to send both of those armies in there right away. And then you go to Armenia without getting there. I mean, Chicago's figured out a way to make this work, but I don't like it, so there.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the tactical situation right here, because there is a guess here. If Austria wanted to guarantee that Italy doesn't take Trieste, he simply supports the fleet back to Trieste, or supports the army into Trieste. If he wanted to gamble, he could put Trieste in Greece, move Vienna to Trieste with, Albania into Greece, move Vienna to Trieste with support from Serbia, which would leave Vienna open. So this would be a kind of 50-50 guess. Of course, leaving his backside open. Siobhan, do you have a preference in what to do in that sort of situation, or is it totally dependent on the negotiations?
I mean, a lot of it's dependent on the negotiations. I hate the move to Tyrolia and Venice as Italy. You've committed yourself fully to that northern quadrant. It irritates Germany, even if it doesn't make them really angry. It pisses off Austria. Like the move to Tyrolia is fine, but backing it up with Venice is just so... It's too much this early. And I would be very much regretting it, seeing how friendly France and England look in this moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. And for me, the biggest drawback for this is that it commits you to a land war, and Italy is not an army power. It is a naval power. But it's
that's the case, Brandon. Why does Italy start with twice as many armies as fleets?
Because they are famous for inefficiency.
But in all seriousness, you have 3 units to start with, and you want to send one of them off to take Tunis. Awful. Use 2 units to take Tunis, which you then have to come back from.
Yeah.
Or you just want to let that army hang around the boot and not use it like you're a crippled 2/3 center power. I am a big fan of doing something with it. And this is something. And we have not yet seen anyone today make Italy work by running in on Austria, but it can be done, right? It's not impossible to come out on top of that. You just need Russia and Turkey to be fighting. And hey, look.
And fighting in a way that is hard to be easily undone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think that in the draw-based scoring system, there's less incentive to do this because there's just that much more incentive for Russia and Turkey to get together. The downside for one of them being a junior partner just is not as big as in other systems. One thing we have not seen at all, which surprises me, is a tight AI where Trieste is given to Italy in 01 in exchange for anything, especially going to the Aegean in fall of 01. Haven't seen that from a single game so far.
Yeah, there were multiple opportunities where I believe that would have been the right decision, but nobody did it. And a lot of Austrias don't like doing it. So, giving up your home center, it sounds wrong. It sounds unnatural in some way, and a lot of players are very resistant to it. But I have played a fantastic AIs in my time where I am Austria and I have given Trieste away. So
let's see what happens in fall of 01 here.
Serbia hold. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, Italy.
Italy gets the second build. Austria goes conservative, half conservative, I should say. Actually, I like this the least of all the options because there's no chance of getting Greece, and you still have the risk of Vienna being left open.
Well, I mean, how anxious are you about Turkey that Serbia couldn't have supported the move from Vienna and Albania couldn't have gone to Greece?
That's exactly what I'm saying here. That's just poor tactics.
I mean, yes. I guess the thing that the risk here is that Trolley just walks to Vienna, right? So there's no perfect set of moves here, and that's I think why I don't like Albania going to Greece with strength 1.
That's fair, yeah, because you do have the guessing game of walking to Vienna versus.
Yeah, but if you're gonna have this be a guessing game, at least let Serbia be the supporter and give yourself a shot at Greece.
Yeah,
I agree. And
Serbia's just wasted here.
Russia looking hostile to each other. I think this is the perfect time to do that. And look, Russia doesn't build.
Russia doesn't build. Turkey. Oh, another unowned Bulgaria at the end of 01.
Yep.
But Turkey gives the black away.
Because he listened to our earlier episode. But so did Russia, and so they covered Seth. To Romania.
Russia and Vanessa Smith, who's an experienced player, correct? So
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is a savvy way to play this, in my opinion. You don't fall for the fool's gold of trying to get Romania, and you just cover your butt against Turkey.
Yeah.
Russia's in a much stronger position now because of this than before, and in Galicia as well. Yeah, I think Russia.
Even with no builds, right?
What's that?
Even with no builds, it's a better position than it was before.
Yep. If England will let Russia come back from this, then I think Russia can, and might be able to anyway. Okay.
I think Russia has a solid sell to Austria here. It's like, hey, I get that I'm in Galicia, but it's all about Turkey right now.
Yep.
So I think they're good.
So yes, and with Austria only getting one build and not having a unit in Tyrolia here, they can put it in Budapest and help, or would you put it in Vienna and move against Italy? Well, Italy's getting 2 builds.
Yeah, Italy you want to talk to Italy. Are you going to build 2 fleets? If so, arm Budapest.
Yep.
If you hear anything else, then yes, I will build 2 fleets, Vienna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it should be enthusiastic, right?
Yeah. It should be like,
It should be like, oh, that was never even a question. Of course it's 2 fleets.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to bounce you in Trieste.
So, all right. Elsewhere, we've got convoy to Belgium, where English armies go to die, and France has the luxury in Iberia. Okay, let's see what we got for the builds.
Okay.
We got the 2 fleets.
Double fleets with the Army Budapest.
Yep.
Checks out. Or a fleet build from Turkey. Yeah, I get that, I guess.
This is bad for Germany. This is why Germany should, incentivize covering Munich a little bit higher. Even if it isn't going to be a lot good for Italy in the long run, this is super bad for Germany.
Well, yeah, and we're going to Munich would have made no difference to what happened in Belgium anyway. And granted, probably Germany was promised it or something, but...
Or something.
But with so many other enemy units around there, I mean, it was optimistic to think that he would get it.
Yeah.
Chris, break it down for us.
Italy says, "Oh, you've got the Turkish situation under control? Great. I'll attack France."
Yep.
Goes all out.
Also goes to Silesia, let me point out about Italy.
Yeah, maybe that's the price he pays because he goes with Germany, right?
He goes with Germany. I think he's just like,
He says, "All right, you know what? Support me in Warsaw, and you can hold Munich."
sure. I actually kind of love that. Yeah.
Germany puts England into Sweden. So you're expecting some French-German love there. It is impossible for Germany to force the recapture of Munich here. So this is yet another game where Germany's just going like, yeah, I'm like Brian Ecton. I don't care if you take Munich. I'm fine. I'll deal with it. I'll just play on.
This is nice. Joint move to against Russia.
As you know, it turns out Russia doesn't make it out of Galicia and Ukraine, but that's only because Turkey made it into Sev, and Black Sea retreats to Bulgaria East Coast. You
really got to like the set of orders from Turkey, how this worked out. Turkey's in black. He's going to stay even unless he can manage to finagle Bulgaria here, maybe with Austria's support. But with Italy moving west, Turkey's secure here. Turkey's looking good for the draw at this early stage.
Yeah, if you're Russia, I think those are just suboptimal orders, right? I think that you support the Black Sea back to Sev.
Yep.
And you put Austria into Romania.
Yep.
Just to be like, let's kick this Turkey in the teeth and let him know that that's not acceptable.
All right, let's move to fall of 02 here. And let's see, we've got England who takes Sweden, holds on to it. France with a very interesting set of orders, which sees him lose Lyon, but get into Western Mediterranean. He'll have a rebuild, which he can put back in Marseille. Thanks to the Oh, and Warsaw falls. And Turkey, look at this coordination.
And Italy keeps Munich.
Yeah, due to the bounce.
Lots of action. But look at this coordination here between Austria and Turkey.
Yeah, that's the thing, beauty.
This is nice. Yeah. Although if you're Austria,
George.
If you're Austria, don't you want to see this fleet go to the East Coast?
He's already got a fleet on the inside. I mean, yes, you do, but like that's where you put a legitimate order. Maybe you just want to blow that Russian fleet up. Although if you're Austria, I don't know. You're playing an alliance at this point.
Yep.
Austria supported the correct coastal move, so
so they
don't care that much because I
we
mean,
haven't seen a mistaken coast order yet on our bingo cards, have we?
No, and that is on some of the bingo cards, so
Something to look for.
We'll get there at some point.
All right, here we've got builds here. Wow, this is a shocker here.
Side.
That doesn't do anything for you, eh?
You know, wave. If you want to be like, oh, Mr. PDP Snick, you wave that build. Is it an Turkey, Italy, Austria alliance?
Turkey, Italy, Austria. Oh,
An AIT, but
yeah.
an IDA.
It's got to be an army here. Oh, I guess it does. I mean, presumably there's enough armies here between the two of them. This is a very nice, I would rather, if I were Turkey, I would rather be on East Coast Bulgaria and have the fleet in Con.
Or wave that build, right? Waving the build invites them to take Bulgaria, but the Black Sea forced Bulgaria to hold. You can be patient here. I'm arguing, Corey, that Turkey is maybe better off waving Fleet Ankara here than putting it on the table, because all it does is make Italy twitchy. But in the long run, if you're Austria and Turkey, you're going to stab the heck out of Italy.
Yeah.
Right about now. Yeah, you don't need Italy anymore.
All right. I think we want to pick up the pace here and start doing some speed reading. And then and we're going to bring on
a year and a half behind most of the games. But yeah, I think we should pick it up a little bit.
I'm working on getting a guest in to help us out for a bit.
Let's do 2 years at a time. Go a little faster and get through the rest of these. So we'll do 1903 here.
Sure.
Let's do our quick reads. So Siobhan, you'll be up first here.
Okay.
So spring 1903.
Okay. Turkey takes that ill-advised fleet build and puts it in con, which I guess that's fine. Whatever. Okay. Germany walks out of Warsaw, letting Italy walk in behind while he picks Munich back up. That's all for sure, definitely planned. Wow, poor Russia.
England gets into Denmark with the convoy.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Okay. Other than that, in the West, it's
a magical bounce.
A magical bounce.
I think if you're Italy, you're happy to let this fleet go back, right?
And follow it into the Western Med, yeah.
That's what I would have done, but...
All right.
Well, I mean, if you make it to the Mid-Atlantic Ocean, genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, and then, so now he has to cover Tunis, so he gets nervous. Sorry, Chris, you do this one.
Oh, yeah, same. So France gets a little bit of tempo. Bill picked back up. You see that England is really just focusing on Germany here, tries to convoy into Holland. Doesn't work. And Russia holds Moscow by dint of people being too greedy trying to get it.
Yep.
This is known as the beleaguered garrison, is it not?
Yeah, beleaguered garrison.
Moscow's just like, oh God, please.
But we do see lack of cooperation now between Austria and Turkey, and ominous signs here for that alliance. All right, builds. We've got Germany pulling one because of the loss of Denmark. And we have Austria with a potentially Turkey-friendly build here, though it really could go either way. It at least opens the possibility of moving against Italy.
And Germany loses Warsaw and Denmark gaining Munich. So here's an example of Italy taking Munich in 1901, ending up in Warsaw in 1903. He's doing things. He's playing the game. He's messing up other people's games. But is it really helping him? Arguably not so much.
No, I mean, he's very vulnerable here. And it would be surprising to see Italy collapse with a little pincushion from Vienna and Trieste. Looks like...
this is where we had the argument over Moscow.
Yes.
The brace.
Yes, and we had, and it looked like the AT, which was, very solid in the early game, was finally fraying.
The continued bounce in MAO.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Okay, I'm sufficiently jogged.
All right, Siobhan, spring 1904.
Spring again, a bounce in the MAO. Well done. Okay, at least someone takes Moscow. That's an improvement.
And it's Turkey.
It's Turkey. I mean, good for you, George, for arranging that however you had to. Letting Austria take Ukraine behind you. Don't hate it. You get into the Aegean. Ooh, Turkey and Austria have figured something out here. I don't mind the Bulgaria. Oh, no, sorry, the Albania. No.
Well, they had to figure that this wasn't going to go, and Khan had to get into Aegean, so...
Yeah, exactly. But what does Bull do next turn? Who goes to Ionian? Who supports who? That's going to be a hairy conversation to have.
I mean, the alternative would have been Khan, Smyrna, and Bulgaria to the Aegean.
Which I also hate. So, I mean, and Chris brought this up a couple seasons ago, the Bull South Coast. it's an awkward place for the Turkish fleet to be.
In the AT.
In the AT, which wasn't an AT for a minute, so then it was fine, but now it's looking like an AT again, at least to me.
You have to turn over Greece to Turkey at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Short of it.
So
it'd be easier if Turkey, if Austria were getting a build somewhere else, right? They're going to get Venice, but if they give up Greece, then Turkey too.
They're going to get Warsaw and Venice. So
I mean, what they need.
Oh yeah, because they've got 2 here now.
Yeah, I mean, they need Lyon to keep tapping Tyrrhenian Sea. And then they force Ionian while Turkey takes it behind, where Austria then forces Venice, so Austria stays even in the meantime.
Yeah. And Chris pointed out that Austria is going to get Warsaw, unless England does something unexpected. But England is most likely going to be hitting German centers here. Let's take a minute to appreciate the chained convoy. 2 in a row.
Love it.
This is Russ Dennis.
Christian Klein is watching at some point on replay. This is something that England would like to do.
Yeah. Lessons.
Call back.
Let's move on. Let's move on. The game where he took Holland and Kiel with fleets and slowed his progress.
That was 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Fall 1904, Chris Martin, you're up.
As predicted, England running in on Germany. Germany saying, I will fight whoever I can. So he kicks France out of Burgundy. But France advances to the to Piedmont at the same time. And finally, figures out that Spain needs to go back. And Italy doesn't. Yeah, Italy in a really bad spot here. Loses the Ionian. As expected, Turkey builds 2. Austria builds 1. Boy, I would have supported Trieste forward and followed up from Albania rather than left Karolia.
It's a conservative play because Tyrolia could, in theory, be tapped by Munich, and so this is the only way to guarantee it. But it's so unlikely that it's a waste of Munich.
It's too safe.
Yeah, too safe.
Okay.
It expands Warsaw rather than retreat it, so no suspense there. I love the English position, and he builds 2 more armies.
Yeah. What is England laying his or her eyes on, do you think, in the long term here? Where does England think those armies are going to go? Let me ask it that way.
Dots.
Dots.
Your answer, right? You're probably never going to get past St. Petersburg, but you do need to make sure you go get it. So you slap an army into Norway to guarantee you get it. Baltic, go to Bothnia, no risk there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Denmark is coming down to Kiel, Holland's coming down to Ruhr. You need, hey, France, I need to move out to the English Channel here so I can get another army in.
This is the basis for my question, is that when we talk about England soloing, we often talk about the need to get armies onto the continent early, right?
Yep.
England has built 1 fleet this entire game and has built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 armies.
Yep.
Is England thinking solo right now? Do you think?
All day.
Yeah. If he's not, there's no reason to have built and moved the way he did.
So let's say this. Even if he isn't, even if he wants to stay and team up with France, he doesn't need any more fleets. There's nothing he's going to do with fleets that France can't do with fleets. He doesn't need another fleet to go take St. Petersburg, right? Especially with the disband of the Russian fleet, Livonia. Now it's just a matter of let's prevent Austria and Turkey from rolling across our side of the board. So now France has to send Mid-Atlantic Ocean to Western Med to help prop up Italy for a minute. And, France has to kind of come back a little bit to Marseille to help mop up Germany. So, England has 3 fleets. He doesn't need a 4th fleet.
So is there, do you think there's any chance here of a 3-way draw? Or does this look like EF, AT to you guys? That was someone's cat.
if somebody stabs to try and make it a three-way draw, then the chance of somebody getting a solo goes way up.
Yeah.
So Zach Moore in France is a strong player. Oh, right. This is the Jorge Zhang in Turkey. And he and Austria have gone back and forth, a little love-hate relationship that looks like they're back in the love phase.
Yeah.
I just want to pause real quick. Yes, Dave Miletsky, we see you, and I super appreciate that you figured out how to use YouTube. Thank you. That was a whole conversation on the side. So, okay, George, go. Oh.
Sean, tell us about spring 1905. Yeah.
Spring 1905. Major props for Austria to just convoying straight to Naples and going to Apulia. Ooh, that's pretty.
Doing it with a beleaguered garrison.
A beleaguered garrison, and whether or not that was planned, well,
I mean, I guess maybe the logic on that was if Italy, if Turkey got in, then Ionian could retreat to Naples.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, so...
That's nice logic, actually. If Tyrrhenian Sea goes to Naples and bounces him, then he has a retreat. The retreat's to Adriatic in that case. But either way, you're getting units forward.
I mean, there's a lot of questions around that entirely, but I appreciate the boldness of this because I am convinced that this AT is working together. They're in no position to stab each other. The fact that Black held tells me everything I need to know. So that beleaguered garrison has to be intentional, and kisses. Love it.
Yeah, that strikes me as a George plan.
George.
And he, I believe, can guarantee Rome as long as France doesn't interfere.
Yeah, as long as Tyrolia doesn't fuck it up.
Why wouldn't it? I mean, what else is it doing there other than to fuck up?
I know, but this is masterclass, taking a risk, evaluating the player you're up against, watching what they've done in previous turns, and making a very risky choice. I mean, all of this could have gone so badly.
Yeah.
And, thank you. I love you all.
It's really
George.
nice.
I mean, George or Mike Walsh in Austria, whichever one of you was behind figuring this out.
Well done.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some England convoys. We got a 2-convoy turn here. One succeeds, one doesn't. Thanks to some savvy troop movement by...
George, well played. Bouncing Livonia was the right move to make. You do not want an English army there right now. Convoy to Norway. Yeah, obviously. What else was it going to do? Where does London go next season?
It looks like...
Well, he did just open up Holland, so they might go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Norway, so Norway moves to Finland here, and you convoy into Norway, then you've got...
Yeah.
Might be a little congested up there, but...
I want to see that lone Russian army do something unexpected to bring someone else up.
Yeah, but he's probably... I mean, the bounce there is the best of all worlds for him.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this was the right move for Russia right now. Next season, Vanessa, let's look at our options and think about everything everyone could do. And
so, and then Germany retreats to Picardy here rather than Ruhr, and creates a little bit of a headache for France, just having to cover Brest here. Okay, let's move forward.
I'm going to leave this analysis to you and Mitch. I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay. All right, Mitch, why don't you break it down? Tell me what you see.
Okay, well, I called it on Holland. Austria helping France into Munich is interesting. That seems like kind of just kind of tired of having Germany around, and that was the most expedient way to get rid of them kind of move.
And also get this French army out of my hair.
I like the supported convoy into Prussia. That was a good idea. And rather than trying Livonia again, because I think you probably realized that wouldn't work again, it now has 2 on St. Petersburg. So at minimum, England and Turkey will have the same amount on St. Pete's. And we do have and down in the Med. That's okay. Hold on, I gotta take a closer look and see exactly what the heck's happening here.
So Austria takes Rome from Apulia
and Naples,
and is dislodged from Ionian by Turkey and retreats to the Adriatic, which is a perfectly fine place to be if you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And now has 2 builds, I believe, while Turkey did not get any. So
yeah, that sounds right.
But Turkey is in the Ionian Sea and has fleets all over the place and really is really in fine shape.
Yeah, and I think that dislodgement I think has to have been planned, just because Austria I think knew that he had to do Ionian to Turanian if he was to get Rome, because he had to cut any possible support. So I think Austria definitely knew that dislodgement was going to happen.
Yeah, and it's only fair for Turkey to get him his or her units forward. So it does feel though like with Austria supporting France here that this game is headed towards a stable draw state of England, France, Austria, Turkey. And you even have France moving back to Spain here, which kind of only makes sense in the context of setting up for a draw.
Yeah, that's a stalemate move.
Making sure. So England's going to get a build in Kiel here, just 1. So yeah, this to me says don't get any ideas, England. Just don't get any.
Oh, someone's gonna get an idea. You know they are.
Oh, I hope so. That's what we're here for. Let me get the popcorn out.
I mean, do diplomacy players do anything other than get ideas?
So thanks for playing Germany. Yeah. Thanks for playing Germany. Who's Scott Joffre? I want to see Vanessa and Russia survive. This is my goal for this.
Oh no, Vanessa deserves to be in this draw, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. I don't have high hopes, but I have strong hopes. What do I want to say there? I want to believe is all.
We have faith. We want to believe, though our faith has been shattered recently in the world. So
I have high hopes, but not great expectations.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Austria building 2 armies, one of which is in Budapest. That potentially concerning for Turkey, but again, it's hard to see what Austria would really be able to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but it would piss me off if I were Turkey. Like, really?
Yep.
If you didn't need it in Vienna, just waive it at this point. Either we're friends or we're not.
Yep.
Well, I feel like maybe if I was Austria in this case, what I think I would be doing, talking about the builds here, would be I would go to Turkey and would say, if I build in Budapest, I can use that in negotiations with France and England to make it look like we're going to be going after each other, or that we don't trust each other. So.
Yeah,
there could be a bluff going on.
To what end, though? I mean, these guys aren't going to fight, and so the only way this game explodes is if these 2 guys fight.
Yeah.
So no, this looks like a 4-way draw, but the game is not yet. Let's see what happens. All right, I'll call this one out. We've got France now moving units back into place, taking an Italian support into Turanian Sea. Very interesting, but likely not a long-term survival play for we have Russia surviving to fight at least 1 more turn, thanks to Turkish support. but with English fleets coming over and St. Pete not being able to be held from the south, the days are probably numbered.
Yeah.
We also have Austrian armies not going to Piedmont.
Yeah. And also going to Galicia and not Vienna.
So I think if you are Austria here and you want, if you're Turkey here and you want Austria's full fealty, you want to see this fleet in Naples, not in Adriatic, and you want to see armies going into Piedmont here. This is there's nothing to be directly concerning, but sort of indirectly concerning. Okay, Siobhan, I think you're up here.
Yeah, I'm back now. Okay. I was not paying attention to the last season. I heard something was concerning, but I wasn't paying attention to what.
Mitch, someone in the comments says that you're needed for GM duties.
Okay.
Right. Go do that. Just kick him back to the waiting room for a second. Okay, so, Vanessa, it's mildly disappointing. I wanted you to make it, even though I knew you wouldn't. Okay, England.
But this is clearly Turkey saying, you know what, I'm more worried about what Austria is doing than anything else.
As he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, very clearly. I mean, Gal to Ukraine, Bud to Gal. Everything else just holds. Austria is doing nothing anywhere else on the board. I think this is a possible failure of negotiation between Austria and Turkey at this point. We're talking about how this ought to draw, and they maybe are disagreeing on the details of it, where they should not be, because the only person this apparently benefits is England.
Let's talk about England.
Yeah.
Has made the only moves that create potential future dynamism.
Belgium, Kiel, English Channel, NAO.
English Channel and NAO together.
And gets a build here.
From St. Petersburg. So what's the build that you don't want to see if you're France, or does it even matter because of these moves?
It doesn't even matter. I mean, he has 2 on MAO. You only have 1. So Fleet Liverpool at this point, I mean, sure, it just backs it all up. But, I mean, let's presume... I mean, he's in Belgium. He can convoy to Picardy with support. I mean, like, there are so many options here.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to guess he builds Fleet Liverpool. That's my guess. I'm not saying I think it's right. Yeah, no, it's right.
I mean, the other option would be Army London. You convoy into Picardy here, which is
guaranteed. It's a slower play. It's safer. I mean, you could, in theory, even do Fleet London, put Fleet English into MAO with support from NAO and follow up in English, and have 2 on Brest.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, it doesn't seem. That doesn't seem that different to me from putting in Liverpool and going to Irish. But he doesn't. Yeah. All right. Well.
No, you're not wrong. Okay, so.
Let's see what happens here.
Army London. I don't hate it. I really don't.
I don't either. The only thing though is that. Yeah. Actually. Yeah. He can try to force Burgundy here and prevent. You go North Atlantic to Mid Atlantic, bounce that. You do or get in.
Yeah, I mean,
you can force Burgundy with if he's willing to risk. Yeah, it's not a risk. I'm sorry. Yeah, force Burgundy here.
Force Burgundy, no question.
Convoy.
I mean, Gascony has to cover Brest at this point.
Convoy to Picardy here. Take
Convoy
Burgundy.
to Picardy in a heartbeat.
And
if Burgundy is smart, it goes to Picardy to bounce it, because you can either force Burgundy or support into Picardy.
Yeah. Oh god.
I mean, there's a little bit of a guess, and I don't know either of these players. Well, I mean, I guess I do know that more.
Zach is a good tactical player. He'll probably go to Picardy here. So then the question is, does Belgium support London to Picardy? Oh, you could do that. Belgium supports London to Picardy, and then Berlin to Ruhr, or Berlin to Munich with Ruhr support.
Yeah, I don't know the English player from Adam, so
let's see what happens.
Let's do it. Convoy to Picardy. Oh, Zach.
This is very passive. This is a real surprise.
Zach, okay.
This is a real surprise, yeah.
I am not going to walk out of this room as is on the bingo card. All of this.
How bad? All right, let's talk about how bad this is for Zach. He has gone to Spain. He clearly is deciding to hole up in Iberia. Breath of cause. Although he'll just.
I mean, I understand that there is the argument, and I'm seeing on the side here, even though I'm trying not to look. Yes, okay, France believed whatever England sold him. But there is no sell for me, if I am France, that tells me that England is doing anything other than hurting me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what magic potion you put up in my face and tell me I'm going to have eternal youth or eternal, good health or what. No. This is not a situation in which no.
You got so all right. If you're going to try to defend your home centers, you got to do something with Burgundy and Munich here. Like you got to hit Ruhr. You got to maybe go to Paris and pull Munich back. You need Austria on your side. My guess is what he wants to do is to make sure that he's on a stalemate line and makes it to a draw. So
sure, but I mean,
Portugal, Spain, Marseille would do that.
What I would have done probably is Gascony would have covered Brest and Burgundy would have covered Picardy. And I get that there's an argument that would not have worked because Belgium supported it. But at least you're not just sitting there.
Yeah.
I don't know. And West goes to North Africa.
he's trying to get all his units into play, but yeah.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Like, it's not the worst thing that has ever happened, but there's.
Well, it's look, they're on 15 minutes. It's late.
It's later for everyone else than it is for me on the West Coast, so I get it.
Oh, right. This is where England was turning on France, and we didn't like France's defensive posture here.
Oh, yeah. That one.
So, yeah. So France looks like he's trying to get on the line. Marseille, Portugal. He does not even contest Paris. So England could have walked in here. Austria takes the French dot. Apparently also looking for the draw. And so the only question here is whether France makes it, and judging by the fact that the game ends soon, I believe he will. The question is whether Italy, does Italy make it with one dot? So Mitch, what do you see going on? Did you GM this game?
I did actually, yes.
You did? Okay. I'll just take it home then. It looks pretty clear what's happening here. England gets in position to take Paris, and that's about it. All right, the game ends. Does Italy get included in the draw as some sort of consolation prize? This is Kitty Hawk 2D. And the answer is no. Italy and France both agree to not be part of the draw.
Mm-hmm.
A very surprising result, in my opinion, for France to not try to be in this draw. Siobhan, what do you think here?
Sorry, I wasn't paying. Oh, so France vetoed the draw?
No, France
voted himself out.
Oh, France voted himself out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we have drawn with a three-way then.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I get it. I don't know. It seems very defeatist. And I think Zach had the opportunity to say, hey, come and dig me out, while hoping to make someone else do something more interesting.
Well, I will say, speaking in generalities, I think that given the fact that this one did just end like very recently, the time of day or night, as the case may be, was, I think, more of a factor than defeatism.
Okay, that's fair. And I think a lot of people are getting very tired, and we are getting kind of the end of our stream. Brandon, I think there is one more guest we should bring on, so maybe we should say...
I'm lining up a guest right now. Oh, yes. So,
okay.
Well, who were you thinking of? Text me in the thing.
I did.
You did? I don't see it. Okay. So we're gonna let you go here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. You have done so much behind the scenes today, and we thank you so much. This kind of work is not seen or appreciated, and wow.
Well, I'm very glad to help. It was nice hanging out with you too, and I really think that this whole event has really been, even with me seeing behind the curtain and seeing how much people are running around like chickens with their heads cut off. I do think that this has been a real success, and I look forward to helping run more of these.
Yeah, there will be more of these. Yeah.
And we look forward to having you involved. Mitch, stay safe and have a great night.
Will do.
Thank you, Mitch.
All right, joining us now is actually a player on this board who played England. His name is Russ Dennis. Russ, welcome to the live stream.
Hey,
thanks.
And congratulations on your board top. So first, before we get into some other business that we want to talk to you about, tell us about this game. What was it like from the early part and especially in the end game?
Yeah, I came into the game basically shooting for a solo because I figured that's what I needed when I found out someone else had got it. But we worked really well with France. Germany, interestingly enough, resigned. I think he probably had maybe 4 centers. And so after I kept taking some from him, he just quit. The person that they put in next actually had played with me the last game in round 1. And personally for me, I thought he should have stabbed and got us into a 3-way draw, the guy who became the new Germany. And he didn't. He supported Conrad. Somehow Conrad convinced him not to, and he forced us to have a 4-way draw. So when I had the chance, this new Germany that got in, we killed him. So I wasn't going to do that again. So that would have been, he probably came in about then, I'd say in spring 1904. Yeah, that's when he did it, because he was trying to work something out with me, and that's why he kind of moved away.
So there was a player that I think we weren't aware of. You're saying someone in spring 1904.
Do you know the player's name that came in?
1 second. Yeah, I do. His name's Liam.
Okay. Oh, Liam. Yeah, he was either in the chats or on another game, at least this morning. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway.
Russ, I want to know about this turn right here, fall 1906. So the game seems like it's headed toward a stable conclusion with a 4-way draw. Is this the point where you said, well, I wanted to go in for a solo and this is my only chance? Why not?
Well, I didn't think probably a solo was going to be there, but there was no way I was going to do a 4-way draw again. I was incredibly disappointed that we didn't do a 3-way draw on my first game. There was no reason not to, but Conrad worked his magic. And I was just not going to do that again. And so those guys, like Turkey and Austria, were basically of the point that, hey, we don't really want to play anymore. And I just told them, I said, I'm going to play 5 hours if I have to. I said, we're going to do a 3-way draw. and you guys can get on board with it or not. And so I kind of dragged them into it. And I didn't like to, Zach and I, we've talked and we've played really well together, but Turkey and Austria just weren't going to stab each other. And I was in our first game, it was Conrad that needed to get stabbed. And in this game, it was going to have to be Zach if there was going to be a 3-way draw. So I did what, I had to do to bring that to a conclusion, but I wasn't going to do a 4-way draw again. That wasn't happening.
So how did you get Zach to agree to not be part of the draw? Because it seemed like he had an argument. He's right on the line at the end here.
Well, because I think he became convinced that Austria and I were going to play this through. And then Italy also said, look, I'll help. I don't know if he said it to France, but he said it to me at least. Look, I'll help finish off France also. And I'll surrender. So anyway, Zach graciously said, I'm not going to keep you guys up for another 3 hours if you're going to do it anyway. And resigned. So that was good because I was committed with going through with this because I just wasn't going to do that again.